There is a fundamental difference between the cancel culture that the left engages in and the quote-unquote canceling that the right is doing in the wake of Charlie's assassination and the left's celebration of it. The difference is that the left will cancel you for saying objectively true, good, and normal things. To the extent that the right cancels you, it'll be for saying objectively abhorrent, perverse, and sick things. And this distinction matters. As I've said for years, the problem with the left's attack on speech is not just that they're attacking speech, but that they're attacking true and right speech. They want you to be fired for saying, for example, that men can't have babies and women don't have penises. The problem isn't simply that they're trying to get you fired for saying something. It's that they're trying to get you fired for saying the most basic and true things that it's possible for a person to say. The left's war on speech is not a war just on speech. It's a war on truth. They want to punish truth. And that will always be worse. Obviously, significantly worse. There is a difference in kind between the statement, men aren't women, and the statement, Charlie Kirk deserved to die because he was a fascist, Nazi, racist bigot. What's the difference? Well, the first statement is the most obviously true thing that anyone can ever say. The second statement is a demented, deranged, perverse, sick, evil, wicked, horrendous, outrageous lie that not only smears the good name of an innocent man, but also implicitly encourages violence against the millions of people who agree with his politics. That's the difference. And the idea that we can't advocate social consequences against the latter statement without also accepting or approving of such consequences for the former statement is asinine. The idea that society must treat all speech exactly the same, as if it's impossible to distinguish between banal everyday truth and the deranged hallucinatory rantings of bloodthirsty sociopathic hobgoblins, is totally ludicrous. Now, I don't think that such ranting should be made illegal. I don't think that the people celebrating Charlie's death should be banned by the government from saying those things. But I do think it's good that these people lose their jobs. It's good that they are shamed and humiliated and must live with the repercussions for the rest of their lives. It's good if they wake up every day until they die wishing they had not said what they said. That's what I want. I want them to wake up every single day and the first thing they think is, my God, I wish I hadn't said that. It took my entire life off the rails. Everything has changed for the worse because I had to go and say the most vile and disgusting thing that anyone can ever say. I want that to be the first thought in their head every day when they wake up. We cannot have a civilized and decent society unless there are severe social consequences for people who express publicly these kinds of sentiments. Okay, because these people are barbarians. They are savages and should be treated as such. Free speech does not mean that we should act with anything but revulsion and disgust to people who say revolting and disgusting things and who in turn reveal themselves to be revolting and disgusting human beings. I'll take that nurse I mentioned earlier. Just think about this. Upon seeing that a man with a wife and 2 young children have been shot in the throat on stage, her first reaction was to cuss out his kids and his mother and gloat about the murder. Now, that sort of statement, look, I know we're all desensitized from being on the internet, but you have to understand, I mean, that is not just an expression of an opinion. That is a revelation of her character, and it is the character of someone who is barely human at this point, barely has a soul. You know, it's a character of someone who is unfit to live among civilized people, of someone who should be shunned and shamed and alienated by society. Not through force of law, not through legislation or legal consequence, certainly not through violence, but through social rejection. Because people who cuss out the children of men who are murdered on live TV deserve to be socially rejected. Because monsters should be treated like monsters, and she is a monster. Now, the left may now say that even if it doesn't infringe on free speech rights to fire someone for saying something abhorrent, that even so, we should have more grace and forgiveness. Well, guys, you should have thought of that before you spent the last 20 years trying to destroy our lives for saying anything that you even vaguely disagree with. You should have thought of that before you danced on my friend's grave and laughed at his grieving widow. No, what you want is for us to grant you radical tolerance and acceptance while you continue to give us no such thing in return. But that deal doesn't work anymore, guys. The deal doesn't work. The deal is over. It's off. We never should have gone along with it to begin with, and now it is over. You will be held to your own standard. You will have your own rules enforced against you. You will be given your own medicine, whether you like it or not. And you will not like it.